Good evening and welcome to NewsBREAK Live. I'm Hiba Samad. It's Tuesday, January 28th. Thanks so much for joining us. Here are your top stories. There are some road closures you'll want to keep an eye out for this week. Crews continue to work on the Cravens Pedestrian Improvement Project through the end of this week. Cravens Avenue from Post to Gramercy Avenues will be closed. Officials say drivers are not allowed to park on either side and to avoid the sidewalk on the east that will be closed. Crews are working from 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Temporary no parking signs will be posted 72 hours in advance of the work. The city's contractor is performing concrete removal and replacement work for driveways, sidewalks, curbs, and gutters. Access to driveways and some buildings will be restricted. As more cases of the novel coronavirus appear locally, health officials say it's a good idea to be aware of the symptoms. The Los Angeles County Department of Public Health say people don't have to take any special precautions at this time, and there are no immediate threats to the public in the region. What is being called the novel coronavirus is a new one that hasn't been identified before in humans. This type is usually found in animals but can spread to humans. Recently, hundreds of cases of pneumonia associated with the virus in Wuhan City have been identified. It is spreading from an infected person to others through coughing, sneezing, close personal contact, touching an object or surface with the virus on it, when then touching your mouth, nose, or eye before washing your hands. The symptoms are fever, cough, difficulty breathing, and severe illness. Officials say people who have traveled to Wuhan, China since December 1st, 2019 could have been exposed to the virus. Chinese authorities preliminarily identified more than 2,000 human infections, including 56 deaths as of January 26th. So far, there has been one case reported in Los Angeles County. The city's Office of Emergency Services is in constant communication with the Los Angeles County Office of Emergency Management. You can follow the city's Office of Emergency Services on Facebook at Torrance OES. State officials will update the business community soon about the latest happenings at the state capitol. The Torrance Area Chamber of Commerce is hosting its State of the Region event on February 20th. Tickets are on sale now, and it'll feature Congresswoman Maxine Waters from the 43rd District and Congressman Ted Lieu from the 33rd District. Taking place at the Doubletree by Hilton in Torrance, tickets are $48 for members and $77 for non-members. Featured speakers will discuss legislative updates and the impacts it has in the South Bay. For tickets, head to torrancechamber.com/region2020. The City of Torrance officially announced the promotion of a longtime city employee to Assistant City Librarian. City Librarian Yolanda Wilburn proudly announced the appointment of Evan Coates today. Coates comes with a wealth of knowledge and will be responsible for the oversight of operations and programming for the 5 branches, in addition to serving as a liaison to the nonprofits Friends of the Torrance Library. Coates began his career with the City of Torrance in 2000 as a library page. He has worked at many positions within the library, including Senior Librarian of Youth Services, Library Clerk, Library Assistant, and even Senior Librarian. Coates has a master's degree in librarian services from San Jose State University and attended the California State Library Eureka Leadership Institute. He officially begins his new role on Monday, February 3rd. The Library Services Division operates under the Community Services Department. Torrance Police Department are reminding bikers to take steps to combat theft. Officials posted on their Facebook today saying that bicycle theft is a common property crime in Torrance. In an effort to return stolen bikes to victims, TPD is hoping people will register their bikes online or in person. Police say it's difficult to identify a bicycle when it's stolen, so if you'd like to register in person, you're asked to bring your bike into the station and you'll be directed to the traffic office. You'll receive a registration sticker to be placed on your bike. The bike information will be entered into the database and will be used to reunite the owners with their bicycles when they're recovered. To register online, head to torranceca.gov/police. And Torrance Police also announced its program that will give community members a hands-on experience of what it's like to be a police officer. The Torrance Police Department Spring 2020 Partners in Policing class is now open. It will take place from March 5th through May 21st. The program is open to all Torrance residents, people that work in Torrance, and anyone else that has affiliations with the city. Registration does fill up quickly. Partners in Policing is a community awareness program that educates and allows people to walk in the shoes of an officer and experience hands-on exercises related to the duties, services, and responsibilities of policing. Classes will be held every Thursday for 12 weeks from 6 to 8 p.m. As of this date, Torrance Police have graduated 44 classes totaling more than 1,000 community members. To apply, head to torranceca.gov/police. The South Coast Air Quality Management District announced it has updated information on its website about the Torrance Air Quality Monitoring Project. Also known as Torrance Air, officials say they updated their website under Instrument Evaluation. It provides more details on the readings from the monitors and what South Coast AQMD has done, in particular with the West High monitor. To read the updated and latest information, you can head to aqmd.gov. The Torrance Air Quality Monitoring Project is check local air quality using a fence line air monitoring system at the Torrance refinery and multiple monitoring stations located in the nearby communities. To check out the website, head to torranceair.org. Local hospital patients will have a brighter Valentine's Day thanks to acts of kindness. The Volunteer Center South Bay Harbor Long Beach is collecting Valentines Day cards. They're partnering up with South Bay Mommies and Daddies, a website of resources for parents who are hosting a project to collect as many feel-good Valentine's Day cards. So now through February 8th, you can follow their post to create a card. South Bay Mommies and Daddies have also partnered with businesses across the South Bay for this project. In Torrance, you can drop off cards at AR Workshop and the Volunteer Center. If you'd like to participate, registration is encouraged. To pre-register, go to southbaymommiesandDaddies.com. Cards will be delivered to Providence Little Company of Mary and Torrance Memorial Medical Centers. As officials continue to investigate the tragic helicopter crash that took 9 lives on Sunday morning, communities in Los Angeles, including right here in Torrance, are remembering the basketball legend who, to many, was much more. The NBA icon was one of 9 people killed when a helicopter crashed in Calabasas. The crash also killed his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, baseball coach John Altobelli, his wife, Carrie, and their daughter, Alyssa. Mother and daughter, Sarah and Peyton Chester, Mamba Academy basketball coach Christina Mauser, and pilot Ara Zobayan were also victims. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office announced today that all bodies of the victims have been recovered. Here in Torrance, people shared their stories about watching the basketball legend play, the difference he made, and the type of person he was. One Torrance resident remembers meeting him when she was just 10 years old.
It was amazing. I mean, Lakers were in their prime. I mean, that was history right there. So to be a part of that, it was, you know, it means more to me than I can even express right now. But, yeah. And I mean, he's also, you know, influenced me to pursue, you know, shooting basketball as a photographer. And I'm going to keep that going. You never know when your time is up. And, you know, it's just, can't take life for granted.
Kobe is huge in my life. I grew up, my first experience with the Lakers was in the 80s with Magic and Kareem and James Worthy and all those guys. And when that era was over, it kind of felt like things had changed for the Lakers and maybe they weren't going to be as relevant as they used to be. And then Kobe came on the scene. And Kobe came on the scene with Shaq, and then they won 3 championships together. And I remember when he first came to the Lakers and he was a rookie, and he, you know, you could see the athleticism and you could see the ability and you could see the potential. And then that potential blossomed and flourished into him being one of the greatest players of all time, bringing 5 championships to Los Angeles.
You know, he taught me as a person, number 24 is not just a number on your jersey or on your back. It's just, that's how many hours are in a day, you know, and you're going to see what you could do with that. He was it.
Seeing this outpouring of support and seeing the sort of aftermath of this tragic his tragic death, him and his daughter, it's really affected me. And I've been hearing stories and just learning more about who Kobe was, not just as a player, but as a dad.
At the latest press conference just an hour ago, the National Transportation Safety Board shared information that today they were able to recover an iPad but can't say it belonged to the pilot. The recovery crew loaded wreckage and turned the site to local authorities. Officials said they have started doing interviews and also did a family briefing today. They did say to the public that the descent rate was over 2,000 feet a minute, which is considered a high energy impact crash. Both the FAA and the NTSB are investigating this crash. More than 1.5 million people have signed an online petition seeking to have the late Kobe Bryant be the new logo for the National Basketball Association. In 10 days, they plan to release a preliminary report. They won't have a final report for the next 12 to 18 months. The NBA postponed the game that was scheduled tonight between the Los Angeles Lakers and Los Angeles Clippers. The game will be rescheduled at a later date. A popular Japanese supermarket in Torrance is gearing up for its big move across town. Mitsuya Marketplace on Western Avenue will be open until this Friday before shutting down to move to the Del Amo Fashion Center. Then it will reopen in mid-February at its new location on Carson Street and Del Amo Circle. The marketplace has a wide variety of unique Japanese grocery products. When you visit, you can most certainly enjoy the world of Japanese food, culture, and style. We'll be sure to keep you posted on their official grand opening date. El Camino College is looking for talented students to submit their artwork in a contest inspired by space. Science students in grades 5th through 12th can submit their work for the Anuzuka Science Day Arts Contest. The Allison S. Anuzuka Memorial Committee, El Camino College, and American Honda Motor Company, Inc. will also sponsor a free hands-on conference on Saturday, March 7th. It marks the 34th anniversary of the Space Shuttle Challenger accident that took the lives of the 7 crew members, which included Allison Onizuka. The March event will feature an astronaut presentation, hands-on science activities and experiments, egg drop competition, and free lunch for the first 900 students. And speaking of the Challenger mission, it was 34 years ago today when the lives of 7 astronauts were cut short. On January 28, 1986, it's a day many people remember when the Space Shuttle Challenger lifted off on a Florida morning and exploded 73 seconds into its flight. Officials later reported that a leak in the solid rocket booster joint allowed superheated gas to escape and burn through the external tank. NASA observes a day of remembrance on January 28th for those who also died in the Apollo 1 and Columbia accidents. Crew members for the Challenger were Gregory Jarvis, Judith A. Resnick, Mission Commander Francis R. Scobie, Ronald E. McNair, pilot Mike J. Smith, and Allison S. Onizuka. Now let's get to the weather. Today was sunny with a high of 69 and an expected low of 52 tonight. Then tomorrow will heat up with a high of 75 and a low of 52. Then on Thursday, there'll be a high of 71 degrees with an expected low of 53. Weather officials are also warning beachgoers to avoid the ocean today. Through this evening, there's a high surf advisory. This means there could be large breaking waves of 4 to 7 feet with dangerous rip currents. Officials say there's an increased risk for ocean drowning, and rip currents can pull swimmers and surfers into the ocean. So it's recommended to stay out of the water due to these dangerous conditions. Here are some upcoming events this week you won't want to miss. Tomorrow, the Torrance Area Chamber of Commerce is hosting a Torrance City Council Candidates Forum. Tickets are $15 and the event registration starts at 7:30 a.m. It takes place at the Doubletree by Hilton, Torrance, South Bay. To reserve your seat, call 310-540-5858. Then this Saturday, you can attend a free Mindfulness and Energy Center meditation for stress management at the Katie Geiser Civic Center Library. Local author Lisa Erickson will talk about the benefits of meditation. The event takes place from 2 to 3 p.m. Well, in just 2 minutes, we'll introduce you to one local mother who is remembering her son by giving back to others in the armed forces, one blanket at a time. We'll be back in just a few.
Queen is just my everything. Right now, I wouldn't know where my life would be without her. They say chivalry's dead. It's not. Terrence is a gentleman. He opens doors. His smile did it. His smile, his eyes, his knowledge. My landlord, he decided that he wanted me to move based on the fact that I was transgender. It takes me to a place of no hope. It takes me to a place of loneliness. It saddens me. When you discriminate against somebody in housing, where do these people go? Let's just respect people in everyday life for just being human.
Palm trees, coastline, craft brews. Yep, this is Southern California. But this is Torrance. Have you ever driven to a whole other city just for a bowl of ramen? Because if you haven't, that's about to change. Have you ever been to a beach that feels so much like your own private beach that you're like, where has this been all my life? Welcome, my friends, to Torrance Beach. So private, you hadn't even heard of it. Have you ever been to a mall that had literally 2.7 million square feet of shopping? Run, don't walk to Del Amo Fashion Center. And get this, Torrance is the actual epicenter of the South Bay's craft brew industry. I guess you could say the brews are just craftier here. We also have a farmer's market that's just as much about the people as it is about the food. And even our museum scene is the best of the South Bay. All this just 15 minutes from LAX. You'll come for the city, stay for the experience, and leave as a friend. So, are you in?
Welcome back to the second half of NewsBREAK Live. Joining me is founder of Blankets for Soldiers, Linda Ferrara, who's also a Torrance resident. Welcome to NewsBREAK Live.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me, Hiba.
And thank you for being here. For years, Linda, you've been giving back in a very special way. Talk to me about your organization, Blankets for Soldiers.
Okay, Blankets for Soldiers, we began a group of friends and myself in 2008. My son Matt was killed in Afghanistan in November 2007, and searching the internet I got to we were actually looking for information about him, and I made contact with a lady that was a volunteer for Soldiers Angels at Lansdale Regional Medical Center in Germany, and she contacted me in 2008 when another group from Matt's unit had been sent to the hospital. They had a lot of injuries. So I asked her, what could I do to help? Like, I felt kind of helpless. She's telling me there's all these guys are there. So she suggested the blankets, because Soldiers Angels would make up a backpack for soldiers that were sent from anywhere in Europe. Could be not only the battlefields, but it's a hospital that would take injuries other than battle injuries. They would give them a backpack with toiletries and clothing and a blanket. Especially the battle injuries didn't come prepared to stay. They weren't packing to go on vacation. So they had nothing, and the backpacks were something to give to them to make them, when they got in there, to settle down and have something. The blankets were just like an extra treat, because even though they were in a hospital, they didn't have a nice soft blanket. It's like your teddy bear when you're a kid. So that's how we got started.
And you've actually been to the hospital. If you want to talk a little bit about your experience, because this mission eventually made you go to Germany and meet the soldiers there and see what a difference these blankets are really making in the lives of these soldiers.
Yes, it's Soldiers Angels asked me. I went with a friend, Nancy Brewer, who also has been involved with the blankets right from the beginning. And we spent like 5 days at the hospital just seeing how it worked. The soldiers are flowing in, how they're taken through the hospital, given the backpacks with the blankets. We made cookies for them. That was the most fun part. In the ambulatory wards, it would have a kitchen, and we'd make cookies, and the soldiers would smell the cookies, and they'd come down. And mostly they just wanted to talk. They were lonely, and the blankets were like just a little gift from home to say, hey, we haven't forgotten you. We just like you to have something and know people are thinking about you.
And now here in Torrance, you gather with a group of mothers, you make blankets, send kits. So tell me how it's been over the years and you turning, losing your son Matt into something much bigger and helping so many people.
Well, I'd like to think Matt is happy that we're sending stuff to the soldiers. I used to send him boxes when he was deployed, and they always like, getting boxes of goodies from home. The soldiers like to get them. I had two of Matt's younger brothers deployed several times after he had been killed, and they asked me to send things to their units, and I would send boxes of blankets and boxes of food. And it just kind of grew from there because people would get the name. My youngest son, Andy, sent me an email at the end of last year, and a chaplain that he had met on a deployment said, "I believe your mom sends boxes to soldiers. I've got like 25 names. Do you think she could get something to them in time for Christmas?" So, of course, we packed some boxes and sent them off, and they got them by Christmas. So it's just the names that he gave me probably were soldiers who didn't get a lot of support from home. Maybe he felt like they just needed a little something extra.
So talk to me about the various activities. You make blankets, you collect donations for these kits. Tell me a little bit more details. So if there are viewers at home who'd like to donate to your organization or who have a similar story as you can come and help out.
Sure. We always welcome new people to come. We make the blankets at Kings Harbour Church on the first Monday of every month. The blankets have a longer life than you think. Like, to make a blanket, first of all, you've got to raise money to buy the fabric. Someone has to buy the fabric. The kits have to be made up, a top and a bottom for the blanket. The kits have to be picked up, delivered to the people who are going to make them. We make them, we box them, and then someone delivers them to the post office and ships them off. So it's a long and quite expensive process. A blanket costs about $25 each blanket, and then the shipping for 10 blankets is about $50. So we always look for help, donations, and the goodie boxes also. We have several people shop, and we send dried fruit and nuts, some healthy choices, and some candy, because everybody loves candy. So there's plenty of opportunity for helping in any way, donations or physical labor.
You did also mention to me that you do add some special treats that Matt also enjoyed to some of the soldiers out there right now.
Yeah. Well, when I go shopping, he always used to ask me for Trident gum. It had to be the sticks. Like, I don't know why it tasted different if it was square or round, but he always wanted that, so I try to buy that. And he liked the Marcona almonds, so I always find the little bags at Trader Joe's of the Marcona almonds and include those in the boxes.
So talk to me about how it makes you feel to keep this tradition going on every year, and what you hope people know about your organization and its purpose.
Well, I feel like we really don't realize that we have soldiers deployed. We have 170,000, somewhere in that number, which is low. So there's a lot of soldiers deployed. They're deployed over in Africa and Afghanistan and the Middle East. I believe in 150 countries, and I couldn't even name 150 countries, but they're all over, and we need to support them and let them know that we haven't forgotten them, that we know that they're away from home, they're leaving their families, they're doing their duty, and this is just a little way to support them and say thank you.
And as a Torrance resident, you may know that Torrance is such a patriotic place. I know you had a banner, a Hometown Hero banner made for your son, which we aired just a few minutes ago. But talk to me about how you feel, what you do goes hand in hand with what's happening annually here in the city.
Well, the Armed Forces Day Parade, it's meant to be the oldest parade in the United States, maybe. Both the present mayor and the past mayor, Frank Scotto, are veterans, and so they have a special interest. They were both very, very supportive and good to me when we needed some help. It's nice to have a city that remembers their military. We have the War Memorial on the corner of Torrance Boulevard with the names. it's good to have a city that's patriotic. I think that is a very important thing.
Tell me a little bit more about the boxes. I know you didn't mention that each box costs around $100 to fill and send. So if viewers are interested, are there specific donations that you are looking for at the moment, whether it's fabric or snacks? Because we will be giving information on where they can send it.
Okay, well, a monetary donation is always the best. It's the easiest to handle because don't have to store it. We have a bank account so that it can go there. If people want to help make blankets, they're most welcome. They can contact me and find out. We have another group, a wonderful group of ladies that make them in Wilmington. They've been doing it right from the beginning. They make about 50 blankets a month, a couple of days a month. If you want to make donations for the flat rate boxes, there are specific items that pack better, the dried fruit. Trader Joe's, they should, is that an ad? Anyway, I always go there and get their dried fruit and the nuts and the smaller packets and fill the boxes with those things. So people can just donate items for the boxes, but we do have a specific list that's preferred, like smaller items and items that keep really well, like the nuts and the dried fruit. Candy is always a popular item, of course.
So before you go, as a mother who has loved ones who are serving and have served in the armed forces, what do you want people to know, or for other mothers or fathers and family members out there?
Well, just remember to say thank you to a soldier sometimes. There's lots of opportunities, and there's also ways that you can send things to soldiers, you know, that you don't even know that you can offer, you know, some help and support. A lot of them are just young boys without a lot of other guidance and support, and then a lot of them are well supported from home. But it's always nice for them to get a thank you, and there's lots of opportunities to be able to do that.
So before we go, what's your hope for blankets for soldiers in the future?
Well, we've been doing it for a long time, and it's actually fun. We have a good time doing the blankets. It's a great group of ladies. I will continue doing it as long as there's a need.
Well, Linda, thank you so much for sharing your story and for your time.
Thank you.
And as we discussed earlier, if you would like to donate, we have a full page coming up. You can write a check made to Blankets for Soldiers, 4614 Mayor Drive, Torrance, California, 90505. Well, that does it for NewsBREAK Live. If you have news or video that you'd like to share, please email us at newsbreak@torranceca.gov. Also, if you missed any portion of the show, you can catch it all on Torrance City Cable's YouTube page. City Council is back on the dais tonight. We'll see you next time. Have a great one.